Hey guys, and welcome back for a new review. Today we're going to just take a quick look at the PHICEN, or now known as the TBLEAGUE M35 super flexible male body. This is a 1/6 scale version of a bodybuilder, most notably kind of aimed after the physique of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I did take a look a few months back at the M34, but this is the larger version, a little bit more muscular. So we'll crack it open and get a better look at that. Stay tuned. Alright, so this is what you're greeted to when you remove it from the box. It's in a plastic clamshell, and just removing that, you got another layer of protection over top the figure, so you just got to remove that. And included is 6 sets of hands, so he does have fists on him, and then he comes with some extra ones. So you got the grasping hand, a relaxed hand for both sides, so it's relaxed left and right, and grasping left and right. It does come with some anatomically correct parts, which I will not be reviewing. And let's take a closer look at the figure itself. So this one is a larger version of the M34. I will bring that out for comparison so you can see the difference. Let's put him on here so you can get a 360 view. You can already tell that the arms and the legs do seem a bit thicker and more muscular. So we'll go ahead and go over some articulation. Alright, so we're going to go over articulation. I did take the time to go ahead and pop on a head. That's the Terminator TTM 136 Technor head. That's not one of the knockoffs that's been being produced for a while. That's the official head. But just for the articulation, I thought it would be best so I could show you the neck. So with that, you can pivot quite a bit to the left and right, of course. The forward motion goes only about that far, and then back quite a bit, pretty far back. And then shoulders can go out, forward. They can rotate as well, and they also have a shoulder joint, so it can pull forward and it can go back. So it's excellent range of motion. You got a double jointed elbow, you got really good range of motion with that. And of course it's on a regular pivot for the wrist peg. There is an ab crunch, so you can crunch forward and back. You can also twist it, and you can see the musculature really just follows it. Looks very natural. And then hips, of course, forward, back. It can go out to the side pretty far. And then, of course, a double jointed knee, and then a hinge and swivel at the foot. So really good range of motion. You get them in some very natural poses. The body itself is very heavy, as it's this rubberized silicone. So with that, there's a lot of weight to it. Moves very naturally, so posing, it's not, there's no clickety joints or anything like that. It's stiff. It's holds the pose. No loose joints or anything like that. So it's very easy to manipulate and natural. So there is a bit of a powdery feel on the figure. I think that's something that PHICEN or TB League puts on there to avoid it from being sticky. But I can imagine no matter what you do, dressing a figure like this would be very difficult. So let's compare it to the M34. Alright, so here is the M34 versus the M35. There's some differences between the two. Most notably, the legs. The legs are way thicker and bulkier on the M35 versus the M34, as you can tell. Another thing to note also is the M35 did not come with any underwear or anything like that, so just something to be aware of. But as you can see, the thickness and the added muscularity to the 35, you know, really fills out the muscular body a little better. However, if you're planning on dressing it, the M34 would probably be a little bit easier, being that the legs are thinner. Another difference you'll notice between the two is the arms. There's actually a little bit more muscularity in the M35 in the arms. And then also, I forget what they call this, whatever, the traps perhaps, but they are definitely wider and more pronounced on the M35, as you can see, versus the M34. You don't get quite as much as you do. So an overall upgrade in muscularity to the M34, and that's pretty much what it is aimed at. Pulling off the head, just to show you another thing. And the heads, the Hot Toys head pegs do fit on there perfectly. But when you put these figures back to back, one thing that has not changed, whoops, is the height. They are still pretty much identical in height. Really not much of any difference at all that I can notice. So that's about it on the comparison to the 34. Alright, so final thoughts on the M35 TB League body. I like it. If you're going to go for an arrival scene, you're going to have a naked Arnold on your shelf, you really can't find a better match than the M35. Gives you the articulation needed to pull off the pose. If you're going to have, you know, for example, a T5 or a Terminator Salvation T800, again, this fits the bill pretty well. You can use the M34, but for a fully exposed figure with the legs, I think this is definitely a better match. It looks a little bit more to Arnold's physique than the M34. But you can also take a look at it other ways. You could use the M34 for a T2 where he had toned down a bit. And of course you could use this for any other things, like if you want to do a bash for a Bane or a comic superhero. This of course would lend itself quite easily to that. It poses really well. The articulation is very fluid. The muscularity is very realistic. So I do highly recommend the figures. They are very impressive, these bodies. And it's just a matter of finding the right head sculpt for what you're looking for. Of course, this particular one, it lends itself to whether you're doing a T1 bash, a T4, T800, or a T5 again. So anyone you want to go with, you know, whether you want to recreate, you know, the scene from Terminator Salvation, where you get the big reveal at the end of the movie. You have John Connor fighting them. You could definitely do that. So do recommend the figure. Hope you enjoyed taking a look at the TB League M35. As always, guys, thanks for watching.